Ethan and his wife, Maria, had recently moved into Maplewood Estates, a neighborhood run by a notoriously strict HOA. They thought it would be a peaceful place to raise their young son, with tidy lawns and safe streets. At first, Ethan didn't think much of the constant reminder letters about lawn height or trash cans being left out a little too long. He assumed it was normal. Maria, calm and confident, urged him not to worry. What the HOA didn't know, however, was that Maria wasn't just any resident. She was the county sheriff, respected across the region for her fairness and strength. Soon, the letters turned into aggressive notices. One claimed their front door color violated community standards. Another said their family SUV was too large for the driveway. Ethan felt singled out. The board president, Mr. Callahan, seemed determined to make an example out of them. Ethan tried to attend an HOA meeting to voice concerns, but was dismissed mid-sentence. The tension in the neighborhood grew. Some neighbors whispered support, but most stayed quiet, fearful of retaliation from the board. Maria kept her composure, telling Ethan that patience and professionalism would win in the end. Things took a darker turn when Ethan received a warning for suspicious activity. Simply because Maria's squad car, unmarked but recognizable to a trained eye, was parked outside overnight. Callahan claimed it made the neighborhood look like a crime scene. The situation was absurd. Soon after, Ethan found a notice threatening legal action if they didn't comply. Maria finally admitted she was frustrated, not because of the rules, but because of the intimidation tactics. She had dealt with criminals more respectful than this board. The breaking point came one evening when the HOA called the local police, claiming Ethan and Maria were harassing board members simply by asking questions. 2 officers knocked on their door. Ethan was nervous, but Maria calmly stepped forward, badge on her belt. The officers recognized her immediately and looked uneasy. "Sheriff?" one of them asked in disbelief. Maria's steady reply, "Yes, and why exactly are you at my house tonight?" Left no doubt about who she was. The officers quickly realized they had been misled by the HOA. Word spread quickly. The HOA board had called the cops on the county sheriff herself. Neighbors who had once stayed silent began whispering louder. Maria handled it with dignity, refusing to retaliate personally. Instead, she gathered every letter, every false claim, and every intimidation attempt. She knew the law better than anyone, and she was determined to handle this the right way. At the next HOA meeting, Maria and Ethan showed up together. The room was full. Nabars had finally found their courage. Maria didn't shout or threaten, simply laid the documents on the table and explained how the HOA had overstepped its authority, broken multiple state housing laws, and attempted to misuse law enforcement resources. The crowd was silent. Callahan tried to interrupt, but Maria's calm, authoritative tone silenced him. The truth was undeniable. The officers themselves had submitted statements backing her story, embarrassed to have been used in such a way. By the end of the meeting, the board was forced to acknowledge their mistakes. In the weeks that followed, the HOA leadership shifted. Callahan stepped down under pressure. New board members were elected residents, who cared about fairness rather than control. Neighbors who had once lived in fear now greeted each other openly. Ethan felt relief wash over him every time he saw children playing outside without the shadow of intimidation. Maria never bragged about what happened, but her quiet presence became a symbol of integrity in the neighborhood. The family finally felt at home. The irony was not lost on anyone. Those who had tried to use power against them had instead exposed their own weakness. And all it took was the HOA learning one simple truth: never underestimate the sheriff who lives next door.